Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a journey way beneath the surface of our code. Let's dive into the completely fascinating, hidden world of Python memory management to see what is really happening under the hood of your applications. If you've ever found yourself wondering how Python actually stores all that information you're throwing at it, well, you are in the perfect place.
So, let me ask you this. Do your Python variables actually hold your data? You probably assume that assigning a value means the variable acts like this little digital box, just holding that exact piece of data. It's totally intuitive to think that way, but the reality is so much more interesting. And honestly, understanding it is absolutely crucial to becoming a better programmer.
Section 1. Inside the memory warehouse. To figure this out, think of RAM as a giant warehouse. It's this active workspace where your application stores its values in variables while it runs, making sure it can keep track of state and progress. It's kind of like why your computer bogs down when you leave way too many browser tabs open, right? Inside this giant warehouse, the organization is split into two really distinct areas. We've got the stack at the top and the heap at the bottom. And as your program runs, they actually grow towards each other. But they have two completely different jobs. The heap is basically the main storage floor where all the actual objects and values live. The stack, on the other hand, is like the front desk. It just holds the references, basically the memory addresses that point to the actual items sitting out there on the heap floor.
Section 2. The Great Variable Illusion.
When you declare a variable, like typing out student_grade equals B, your expectation is likely that the variable literally holds the string B inside of it. But that is simply an illusion. The reality is that the variable only holds a set of directions. It's just a reference.
Let's actually break down exactly what happens here in 3 steps. Step 1. When you declare that variable, Python goes out onto the floor of the heap and allocates physical space for the actual string object, B. Step 2, it goes to the stack and creates a reference, a highly specific memory address. Then, step 3, your variable is assigned that reference. So your variable doesn't hold the letter B at all. It holds the map pointing to exactly where the letter B lives in the heap.
Section 3. Proving it with code.
Don't just take my word for it, though. To prove this, we can use a special tool built right into Python called the ID function. You can really think of the ID function as a magnifying glass. When you pass an object into it, it completely bypasses the illusion and returns the exact memory address of where that object actually lives in the heap.
Let's look at 2 separate variables, word1 and word2. We're going to give them both the exact same string value, the word programming. Now, when we run our magnifying glass ID function on both of them, they output the identical memory address. Let's say in this example, it's 5,000. Even though they're 2 entirely different variables, Python was smart enough to only create the object programming once in the heap. Both variables in the stack are just holding the address 5,000, pointing to the exact same object.
We can even take this a step further using the is keyword. In Python, if you type print word1 is word2, it doesn't just check if the words look the same, it directly asks Python, hey, are these 2 variables pointing to the exact same physical object in memory? And because they both point to address 5000, Python proudly returns true.
Section 4. The rules of mutability. So what happens when we actually try to change this data? If multiple variables are pointing to the same object, doesn't changing one mess up the other? Well, this is where we have to talk about immutable objects. In Python, primitive types, things like strings and integers, are immutable. That means once they're created in the heap, they cannot be altered, literally ever. If you have the word programming and you want to change it to coding, you aren't grabbing a digital eraser and overwriting the old word in memory. You're actually forcing Python to allocate brand new space for a brand new object called coding, and then your variable is handed that brand new memory address.
The crucial part is how this behaves with basic math. Let's look at this integer example. Step 1. We create a variable called number and set it to 39. Space is allocated in the heap for 39. Step 2. We execute number equals number plus 1. Now, because integers are immutable, Python doesn't just turn the 39 into a 40. Instead, for step 3, it creates a brand new box in the heap for the integer 40 and updates your variable with the new address, meaning Python literally just leaves the 39 abandoned on the warehouse floor.
Section 5. Python's cleanup crew.
Okay, so this brings up a pretty major problem. What happens to all those abandoned objects? I mean, if every time we change a string or do some simple math, we're leaving old objects like the number 39 lying around in our RAM warehouse, wouldn't our computer eventually just run out of memory? To prevent this, Python has this brilliant invisible system attached to every single object called a reference count. It's basically a built-in counter that tracks exactly how many variables in the stack are currently holding the address to that specific object in the heap. As long as that reference count is above 0, the object is considered active and it's kept alive and safe in memory.
But what happens when that number changes? The exact moment a variable is pointed somewhere else, like when we pointed our variable to 40 instead of 39, the old object's reference count drops. And when it hits 0? That 0 triggers an alarm. It means absolutely nobody in the entire program is using this object anymore.
Enter the garbage collector. When that 0 alarm rings, the garbage collector springs into action. You can really just think of it as the automated warehouse janitor. It's constantly patrolling the heap, looking for any objects that have a reference count of 0. When it finds one, like our abandoned number 39, it permanently deallocates that memory, sweeping it away to keep our RAM perfectly clean, efficient, and ready for new data.
So now that you've pierced the variable illusion, and you understand this highly choreographed dance between the stack, the heap, the reference counts, and the garbage collector, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other invisible systems is Python hiding from you? Every time you write a single line of code, there is an entire universe of automated management working behind the scenes. Keep questioning how things work under the hood, and I promise you, you're going to